Good afternoon. Welcome back to Woman's Word. Rise Up, Warrior Woman is what this one is called. And this one is for my Native sisters. I've been sharing in the previous Woman's Word that today I went out for my run walk that I do on the trail. And I was hearing encouragement, just blessing the Creator for that encouragement. And I was hearing discouragement also. And as I'm hearing all of this, in the spirit, something rose up in me and began to speak who I am. Now, I'm multi-ethnic. Clearly, I'm of African descent. My father's family is from Ghana in Africa, but I also have Italian, German, Jewish blood, and Eastern Band Cherokee. Now, the reason I share that is because a lot of us who have native blood look lots of different ways. And now, because there's been so much infiltration among native peoples, we have developed something that we never had historically. We have developed standards for what it means to be native. You got to be this, you got to look like this, you got to have this, those type of things. When as a people, we never had that before. But the fear of infiltration has brought us there. And that's why I say, what my background is to share with you. But a part of rising up and being able to take a stand when discouragement and negativity tries to pull you down has to do with really knowing who you are and accepting who you are. I'm at a place now where I'm not going to apologize for any part of who I am. And I don't feel like I have to explain it because it's who I am. My goal is to help you be encouraged about who you are. And so I'm going to talk to my First Nations, my Native sisters, about being warrior women. And as I've been looking at all of these, I've actually looked at various parts of my ethnicity today and talked to various ethnic groups of women today. One thing that I want to share with Native women is when you look at us historically, you look at Native peoples historically, the barriers and boundaries of gender that you see in so many other cultures, in white culture, even in African culture, that kept women in a certain position, you didn't find that in Native culture. And though there were roles, there's always roles to make societies function, to make people, be successful and get along and do the things they needed to do. If a tenacity was in a young woman and she wanted to be a warrior, she could be a warrior. Now, I'm not talking about she had to dress up like a guy, like we see in Europe with Joan of Arc having to dress up like a man. She could shave her hair off, and she's wearing the man's armor, and everybody thinks she's a guy, and she's winning all these wars, though she's a prophet of God. She's hearing from God. She's speaking to the spirit, and she's speaking to people. From that, she had to dress like a guy to do it. Stuff like that didn't exist in Native culture. When a woman rose up and she had a strength in her, she had a desire in her, she had a skill, it was developed and she was empowered to do it. Doesn't mean she didn't have to fight a little bit to prove herself. That's, whenever women are with men, we always got to prove ourselves. That's real. But there were not societal barriers that kept her. There weren't cultural barriers that kept her from being able to function in that role as to where she had to pretend not to be a woman to do it. Women were warriors in Native culture. Women played many, many roles in Native culture. And I pray that you're connected back, particularly with your nation, maybe even understanding more about your particular clan and the geographic region that they were in. But I just say all that to say that when you spend time just connecting with who you really are and from whom you come, you realize that the bondages that are on so many other women and so many other people groups, those do not exist historically on Native women. That stuff came from other people. That didn't come from us. It didn't come from within our group. It came from other groups imposing it upon us. Native women have always been strong and persevering, but also self-identified, as to where you choose for yourself who you are, and you put that out there, and that's how people respond to you. That's always been true in Native culture. So I want to encourage you, as you're connecting with your roots, as you're connecting with your culture, to rise up as a woman warrior. Don't allow all of the challenges that you see among our people, all the challenges that you see in the nation and in your community and in your family, make you bow down, make you diminish and shrink back from what's inside of you. Tap into what's inside of you. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you do not spend time with the Creator because you're afraid of the white man's Jesus, or you got this problem with this and that with that, Doesn't have nothing to do with Creator. He made you, he made us, he was always with us. Tap into him, connect with him. He will speak to your heart. He will draw up out of you what he put inside of you, and he will empower you to use it for a generation, to use it for a people. Because I'm going to tell you right now, our men are tired. Many of them are worn out and weary and wounded. They're wounded warriors, because the worst thing that could have ever happened to our people was that the pride of the people was attacked. And for the men, that was death. Now, for women, we have always had to keep going. No matter what was happening among our people, the women keep it going. We keep it moving. We keep the families connected. We've got to rise up in this hour and do those very same things. There are things that need to be said, and there are people who have it in their heart to say it, but the woundedness, the pain, the shame, the fear, the doubt, the lack of resources keeps them from doing it. You rise up. You rise up as a warrior woman, and you say what needs to be said. You listen to the voices of those around you who can't speak, or who are afraid to speak, or too angry to speak. Because when they open up their mouth, there's just anger in them, or who are drowning the pain and all of these other things that keep them dulled from being able to be sharp enough to say what needs to be said and to do what needs to be done and initiate what needs to be initiated. I'm challenging you, warrior woman, to do it yourself. You rise up. You make it happen. You encourage a people. You speak to the young, speak purpose and identity back into them. You pray into their spirit, that their spirit will rise up, that they would have something inside of them that could speak positivity into their ears and positivity into their heart. I'm telling you, while I was on that trail running today, I was hearing two voices. One was encouraging, one was discouraging. At some point, we've got to recognize that we do have an enemy who wants to kill us. And I'm not just talking about humans. I'm talking about a spirit that wants us destroyed completely. He tried for years to annihilate us, and he's not done. He's still trying to do that same thing. And he speaks to individuals, not just whole groups. He wants all of us to quit. He wants all of us to give up. He wants all of us to look at ourselves and think that we can't do it. It's too much has happened. Too much time has passed. I don't have this. I'm not able to do that. He wants to determine for you what your destiny is, and he wants to destroy and discourage your spirit. Don't let him do it. More than anything, we have always been a spiritual people, always. But because what was presented to us was used against us, that which was presented as truth was used to kill us. In many ways, we've even forsaken the spirit. We can't forsake the spirit. We've got to reconnect back with Creator and the spirit of Creator that lives within us, that ministers to us, that rises us up out of the dust, out of the ashes when we feel like we're about to die and death is all around us. Even a spirit of death that comes into camps and makes people want to die, want to quit, want to give up. I'm telling you, that spirit of death has been assigned to attack us. Not just that we would die, but that we would want to die, that we wouldn't want to live anymore, because what is in us is life-giving, it's life-breathing. When First Nations people die, the land dies with us. If he can kill our spirit, doesn't matter what happens in this nation politically, because the land itself will abort everything. It will all, this is what we're seeing even happening now, all of the weather and the storms, and because the spirit of the land is dying, just like the spirit of the people is dying. Warrior woman, rise up. You can speak life into your brothers, and to your father, and to your husband, and to your sons, and to your daughters. You can speak life. You can breathe life, because you have the strong arms of a nurturer. You have the voice of a hummingbird. You're able to minister what no one else can minister. You're able to send those arrows of encouragement into a heart that is just encased by pain. You can break through, but you have to break through for you first. You got to find you. You got to reconnect with you. You are beautiful, fearfully and wonderfully made. Don't let anybody lie to you. And you be sure that you connect with who made you and who you are. Get out of where you are. Go somewhere else. I'm telling you, being outside, connecting with the land, you will connect back with Creator. You will. If you have not connected with him, if you've not heard from him, if he haven't touched you, go connect with the land. You might have to go back to ancestral land. I'm telling you, sometimes it's that deep, but go do it and hear him. Then he can encourage you and he can even speak to your woundedness, because we can't be warriors if we pretend that we're not wounded. If we pretend that there's nothing hurting in us, we have to let him fix it. If he designed me, he made me, he can fix what's wrong in me. He's like, you know, a manufacturer of a car. Something goes wrong with my car, I take it back to the manufacturer because they made it originally. They know how to fix it. They can give me a whole new transmission. They can replace the engine. You know, I'm talking big, important stuff. Just like that, he can give us a new heart. If my heart is wounded, if it's bleeding, if it can't love anymore, if it can't trust anymore, he can give me a new one. And it will beat just as fervently as the original one he gave me. But this time, it'll function in a new way with greater wisdom, greater strategy, because in it will be that heartbeat of a warrior woman. Be that woman. Let her rise up in you, and don't accept no for an answer. I hope that encouraged you, and I hope you will connect back with him and let him speak to your heart, that we can have an army of warrior women rising up, our people from the dust, to reclaim what needs to be reclaimed. I'm not talking about retribution. I'm talking about ministering to a land and a people. I hope that blessed you, and I'll see you soon.